Now, before we go on any further, let's just cut across to Hague. South Africa's ICJ genocide case against Israel over the Gaza war. Let's just listen into this.
Israeli nationality has had an eminent career as a judge and law professor. He holds a PhD in law from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and served as the dean of the Faculty of Law of that university between 1974 and 1975. He was appointed to the Israeli Supreme Court in 1978 and served as its president from 1995 to 2006. Prior to joining the Supreme Court, Judge Barak served as the Attorney General of the State of Israel between 1975 and 1978. He has taught law in a number of law schools, including Yale University, the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, and the Reichman University in Herzliya, Israel. Judge Barak has also written extensively in law and has received numerous honorary degrees and awards. In accordance with the order of precedence fixed by Article 7, Paragraph 3 of the Rules of Court, I shall first invite Judge Moseneke to make the solemn declaration prescribed by the statute, and I request all those present to rise. Judge Moseneke, you have the floor.
I solemnly declare that I will perform my duties and exercise my powers as a judge honorably, faithfully, impartially, and conscientiously.
I thank Judge Moseneke, and I now invite Judge Barak to make the solemn declaration prescribed by the statute. Judge Barak, you have the floor.
I solemnly declare that I will perform my duties and exercise my powers as judge honorably, faithfully, impartially, and consciously.
I thank you, Judge Barak. Please be seated. I take note of the solemn declarations made by Judge Ad hoc Moseneke and Judge Ad hoc Barak, and I declare them duly installed as judges ad hoc in the case concerning application of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in the Gaza Strip, South Africa versus Israel. I shall now recall the principal steps of the procedure in the present case. On 29 December 2023, the government of South Africa filed in the registry of the court an application instituting proceedings against the State of Israel, alleging violations by the latter of its obligations under the 1948 Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. I shall refer to this convention as the Genocide Convention. To found the jurisdiction of the court, South Africa invokes Article 36, Paragraph 1 of the Statute of Court and Article 9 of the Genocide Convention. South Africa states that its applications concerns acts threatened, adopted, condoned, taken, and being taken by the government and military of Israel against the Palestinian people, a distinct national, racial, and ethnical group, in the wake of the attacks in Israel on 7 October 2023. South Africa contends that the acts and omissions by Israel of which it complains are genocidal in character because, I quote, they are intended to bring about the destruction of a substantial part of the Palestinian national, racial, and ethnical group, that being the part of the Palestinian group in the Gaza Strip, end of quote. South Africa asserts that the relevant acts are attributable to Israel, which has failed to prevent genocide and is committing genocide, and which has also violated and continues to violate other fundamental obligations under the Genocide Convention. The application contains a request for the indication of provisional measures pursuant to Article 41 of the Statute of Court and Articles 73, 74, and 75 of the Rules of Court. According to South Africa, I quote, provisional measures are necessary in this case to protect against further severe and irreparable harm to the rights of the Palestinian people under the Genocide Convention, which continue to be violated with impunity. South Africa requests that the court indicate provisional measures to protect and preserve those rights, as well as its own rights under the Convention, and to prevent any aggravation or extension of the dispute pending the determination of the merits of the issues raised by the application. End of quote. The registrar will now read out the passage from the request specifying the provisional measures which the government of South Africa is asking the court to indicate. You have the floor, Mr. Registrar.
Thank you, Madam President. I quote, 1. The State of Israel shall immediately suspend its military operations in and against Gaza. 2. The State of Israel shall ensure that any military or irregular armed units which may be directed, supported or influenced by it, as well as any organizations and persons which may be subject to its control, direction or influence, take no steps in furtherance of the military operation referred to point 1 above. 3. The Republic of South Africa and the State of Israel shall each, in accordance with their obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide in relation to the Palestinian people, take all reasonable measures within their power to prevent genocide. 4. The State of Israel shall, in accordance with its obligations under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, in relation to the Palestinian people as a group protected by the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, desist from the commission of any and all acts within the scope of Article 2 of the Convention, in particular, A. Killing members of the group, B. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to the members of the group, C. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in all or in part, and D. Imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group. 5. The State of Israel shall, pursuant to point 4c above, in relation to Palestinians, desist from and take all measures within its power, including the rescinding of relevant orders, of restrictions and or of prohibitions to prevent A. The expulsion and forced displacement from their homes, B. The deprivation of B1. Access to adequate food and water, B2. Access to humanitarian assistance, including access to adequate fuel, shelter, clothes, hygiene and sanitation, B3, medical supplies and assistance, and C, the destruction of Palestinian life in Gaza. 6. The State of Israel shall, in relations to Palestinians, ensure that its military, as well as any irregular armed units or individuals which may be directed, supported or otherwise influenced by it, and any organizations and persons which may be subject to its control, direction or influence, do not commit any act described in 4 and 5 above, or engage in direct and public incitement to commit genocide, conspiracy to commit genocide, attempt to commit genocide, or complicity in genocide. And insofar as they do engage therein, that steps are taken towards their punishment pursuant to Articles 1, 2, 3 and 4 of the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide.
Now, the legal hearings into the war in Gaza has opened in The Hague as the International Court of Justice is hearing the arguments alleging that Israel has committed genocide in the territory. Now, for more on this, we are being joined by our correspondent, Kalden Ongmu. Kalden, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you. I'm on the line.
Kalden, I want to start by asking you, of course, South Africa has brought the case. It's asking the UN court to act urgently to protect against further severe and irreparable harm to the rights of the Palestinian people under the Genocide Convention, which continues to be violated with impunity. Now, their demand is of emergency measures to be brought in. Of course, these hearings can go on for years. What are we expecting from these proceedings?
So firstly, what I can tell you is South Africa has chosen one of the best legal minds in the country. This morning, actually, some of the journalists that the government has taken along with, they've gotten an opportunity to speak to some of the attorneys that have gone there, as well as the judge, as well as Minister of Justice, Ronald Lamola. They seem very confident about this case. They're saying we are not seeking an immediate full judgment. Of course, that cannot happen, as you read in your read as well. But they're seeking an immediate interim measure. All they want from ICJ is to hear that, saying that there should be an immediate ceasefire and allow the humanitarian aid, allow the supply of water to flow in, supply of water in Gaza. Remember now, this is not the first time. South Africa's support for Palestine did not start on October 7th. South Africa has been supporting Palestinian people for decades now, from your former president, late Nelson Mandela. And even till this day, the governing ANC party has spoken time and again. They have been very consistent in voicing their support for the Palestinian people. Just last month, actually, I can tell you, as President Ramaphosa met the Jewish leaders of South Africa, where the Jewish people were not happy with the support South African government and not happy with this case that South African government has taken Israel against Israel. But Ramaphosa was vehemently, very clearly, he stated to the Jewish leaders here in South Africa that South Africa will always be for Palestinian. As a country that has gone through the apartheid era, it cannot sit and watch some other country go through what South Africa has done. That it would be very hypocritical of South Africa to do that. So basically in this, as you said in your read, South Africa wants an immediate ceasefire. They want all military from the Israel IDF to move out of Gaza immediately. And they do understand, South Africa very well understands that this case might go on for years.
Right.
You know, even though, the judges there, the 15 judges and 2 ad hoc judges representing, one from Israel and one from South Africa, as you just heard from the live proceedings that are going on. South Africa has its former Deputy Judge President Mosoneke also representing South Africa there. So South African legal heads that are representing the country seemed very positive. And today South Africa actually will make their plea. The court will hear the proceedings, and tomorrow it will be the Israel's turn.
Right, Carlton, absolutely. And in fact, just for more clarity on this, as you mentioned as well, South Africa is asking the court to speedily implement, and I'm quoting here, provisional measures and order Israel to cease killing and causing serious mental and bodily harm to Palestinian people in Gaza. Now, the filing, of course, also asks for Israel to cease deliberately inflicting conditions calculated to bring about the destruction of the Palestinian people as a group, be ordered to prevent the punishment, incitement to genocide, and also halt restrictions on aid as well as evacuation directives. Now, of course, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. In the near future, what are the expectations?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
I'm just saying that, it's, as you mentioned as well, this is going to be a long drawn-out process, but when it comes to provisional measures to be speedily implemented, what can we expect in that regard, and what sort of provisional measures are we likely to see?
So for now, yes. So for now, the pro-Palestinian supporters, as well as the experts that the journalists we've been speaking to for the last couple of days and weeks, they say that, South Africa has a very good chance of having an upper hand on this, even though, the final judgment may not be immediate. But obviously, with the kind of atrocities that the world is witnessing, that the Israel is doing in Gaza Strip, South Africa may have an upper hand on this. So this hearing, actually, today's hearing with South Africa's proceedings only will be heard. The hearing will last, 3 hours. The court, you can see from the live visuals, is filled with diplomats, activists and journalists from all over the world. It's a huge case historically, as experts have described it. So, 2 days, today's proceedings, which began with South Africa, basically busy with their proceedings as of now. And tomorrow, where the Israel's delegation that have arrived actually today, which is headed by Advocate Malcolm Shaw, also they're also looking very positive, that they say that they are very positive about their outcome. Israel, remember now, has told South Africa that whatever the South African application that has been brought forward seems baseless and meritless. They've accused South Africa, they've labeled South Africa as saying blood libel. also, even saying that their case is baseless. Even U.S. supporting that, saying that South Africa's case is baseless as of now. So, but we do expect with many, many countries actually joining the voice, the chorus of supporting South Africa, and experts stating that, the immediate measures that South Africa has asked the International Court of Justice to announce might be in favor of South Africa. And
all right.